On the 23rd of June of 2021, I accepted I was fat, too fat. Some would say I was a human solar eclipse or the eighth wonder of the world. Those comments coming from friends or family members. So I decided to lose 160 pounds and change my body for the better. Unlike some of the people we're going to be going across in this video, where they think being fat and having the same BMI as form of staining capacity is completely fine and normal. So that's what I'll be giving my thoughts on today. Fat acceptance.
Hey bestie! You're wrong. I think it's time for another adult pre-K lesson. What do you think? All right, turn your listening ears on. Zoop, catch a bubble in your mouth. Good job.
God, it's like Mrs. Rachel with a bloody chocolate addiction, isn't it? With a passive-aggressive tone of voice.
Okay, here's the thing. Having a preference is something like, I'm looking for a partner who likes kayaking, or wakes up early in the morning, or loves pizza. But when your preferences exclude an entire group of marginalized people, that's problematic.
No, it's not problematic. It's a preference. It's a preference to not want your partner to have more roles in the bakery. That's completely fine and normal. It'd be like me saying just because I'm bald and someone doesn't think I'm attractive, that means they're bloody baldophobic. Nope, it's just their preference in what they think's attractive or not. And this whole idea of not liking a fat person in a relationship sense makes you fatphobic, therefore hating all fat people, is absolutely ridiculous. It'd be like saying just because you don't like Osama bin Laden means you hate all Muslims. An absolute nonsense take to make.
Just a preference, stop playing a victim. I'm not playing a victim whenever I'm quite literally calling out the fact that you are fatphobic. No one's playing a victim whenever you're calling out racism. No one's playing a victim whenever you're calling out homophobia.
I mean, unbelievable. These people have really got it through their heads that they're some racially minority group who have been oppressed for something they can't control for decades upon decades. Unbelievable. I mean, to be fair, they'd probably love the Rosa Parks way of protest, sitting on your ass for hours. I mean, comparing stuff in your face about decades upon decades of abuse and ridicule is absolutely insanity, to be honest with you. And it brings down this whole fat-phobic, fat acceptance sort of argument. Yes, of course you should accept people for how they are, no matter how they look. But putting it in this sort of way and comparing it to these sort of things like homophobia and racism is absolutely ridiculous and nonsense.
And on the question of the hour, is it fatphobic to not want yourself to be fat? The biggest defense of that argument is like, why is it a problem for me to have a preference about the way that my body looks? So I think this is a twofold thing. First of all, preferences don't exist in a vacuum. The reason that you would prefer to have a thin body is because of society's fat phobia.
No, it's not because of societal's fat phobia. Let's just have it right. It's just way more attractive to be a bloody land mammal and not weigh the same amount as a bloody sea creature. And to be fair, some of the reasons why people might want to lose weight in the first place to change how they look is to be a bit more attractive. I mean, I gave that a go. It didn't work, but at least I tried. But seriously, trying to put people down for trying to lose weight and have a good healthy BMI and a good healthy body fat percentage for their age and height is just absolutely ridiculous, to be honest with you. And I think a lot of this has probably stemmed from a lot of the people in this video have no doubt tried to lose weight in their life but not been able to do it. So they see other people do it and get very resentful of their achievements, which I think this is where a lot of this stems from, which is a bit sad, but you know, it gives you no right to try and put others people down for just trying to be healthy. And this isn't even me denying that fat people aren't treated poorly in society, but the way these people bloody package it is absolutely ridiculous. I know myself from being overweight, being the butt of every single joke or making yourself the butt of the joke and getting there before someone else does is a massive insecurity and can weigh heavy on your mental health over years of it happening. I know it is not nice, but the way these people are packaging it, thinking they're up there bloody racism and homophobia, and these people minds, they're just as good as bloody Nelson Mandela and Martin Luther King. Absolutely ridiculous. And one of the reasons I wanted to lose weight so much in the end, it wasn't even from the outside noise of what people wanted me to do. It's just I got sick and tired of walking around like a swollen satsuma.
You know, it's a friggin' thin privilege thing. Being able to wear your partner's like regular clothing and for it to be baggy on you.
Everything is down to privilege with these people, isn't it? You're privileged to do this, you're privileged to do that. Absolutely insufferable, to be honest. Because for me, a privilege is something even people can't really obtain. That's why it's a privilege. I mean, these people could literally have thin privilege by stop eating so bloody much. And in fact, I might have started taking some of these on board in my own personal life and say people that have hair privilege. You've got hair privilege to walk around looking like you're not on chemotherapy. How's about bloody that? Let's just say everything's a bloody privilege. Okay, so this clip actually comes from Twitter, but I think it might have been originally posted up to Instagram. And this woman showing off her belly hang and making other women not feel insecure about it. And to be fair, you know, I've got it off Twitter, so you know the comments are about as positive as a priest STD test result. And yes, I will admit her body composition is a little bit bizarre, considering how much fat is in her belly compared to the rest of her body. It's a complete mismatch, like bloody Carlo Ancelotti managing Everton. And no doubt this is some sort of like genetic defect or something like that. I'm not sure what it's called, like, I don't know, Tyson Fury disease, where you have so much body fat in the upper half of your body comparison to your legs or anything like that. Because if her fat was distributed across her entire body, she probably wouldn't even be that overweight, to be honest. It's just the simple fact that her fat's all gone away to her belly. That emphasises it a lot more. Because you compare her legs, her arms, all that stuff is relatively skinny compared to her belly, obviously. And for me, speaking from my own experience, my belly was definitely the most insecure part of me when I was overweight. That and the man boobs, but the belly walked away with it on the final day of the season on goal difference to be crowned champions. And when I was losing that £160, was one of the last places to actually come off. And even now with my loose skin, there's a lot of loose skin around my belly area, so it's still a bit of an insecurity for me. So seeing people like this show off their belly overhang will bring up other people, make them feel less insecure about their insecurity. So I think, in comparison with the other people we've seen in this video, this woman gets a pass in my opinion. She's not part of this whole fat acceptance group where she's very patronising with her tone of voice. To me, I think she's actually doing it for the betterment of others.
Weight by eating enough. That is the body that you are intended to have.
Our brains don't stop developing until we're like 25, so why do we expect anything different from our body? Why do we expect our bodies to just like freeze at the age of 16 and never change? Like, if you are in the gym every week for hours, sometimes every day, or if you're in a caloric deficit and always dieting, then that's not what your body's supposed to look like.
I mean, what on earth does that even bloody mean? Of course your body's going to change over time, but that's just down to the circumstances you put it under to make it look the way it is. I mean, it's absolutely a nonsense take, to be honest. I mean, you could take someone who's probably pretty athletic as a kid in school, but as they get older, maybe now they've got a sedentary job, they're overeating, they're sitting down a lot, they're not burning a lot of calories off, and they're overeating calories, therefore they're going to put on weight. I mean, absolutely nonsense, to be honest with you. I'm not sure what that take is even meant to be, but of course your body's going to change over time. That's not a genetic disorder sort of thing. It's down to you and what you put into your body that's going to make it change. And saying if you go to the gym, your body's not meant to look like that, that might be the biggest cope I've ever seen in my bloody life. Just trying to put down others to try and achieve something you probably want to achieve yourself is just not a good look, is it?
Just another reminder that the BOPO movement was not created for thin people. It was created by fat black women for marginalized bodies. Next time, just say you don't know anything about the history of the movement and move on.
I love how these people really talk that this is a massive historical event that has years and decades upon decades of lineage and history behind it and meaning. I mean, in these people's minds, it probably goes, where were you when 9/11 happened, when World War II ended, when JFK got shot, and where were you when fat fucks wanted calories to become a trigger warning?
We all know skinny people who eat a ton of food and never seem to gain weight. So why do we have such a hard time believing that there are plenty of fat people in our lives who don't overeat, who don't ever lose weight? Genetics plays a huge part.
Okay, now I've definitely saved the best to last here with this bloke, definitely pandering to his fat single mum audience, claiming that genetics are the only reason you gain weight and there's nothing you can do about it. With someone who was in the exact same position a couple of years ago, it's definitely not the case, and I'm going to explain that. Firstly, this whole notion of skinny people can eat whatever they want and they just never seem to put on an ounce of bloody weight is absolutely ridiculous. Because I'll be looking at these skinny people 24/7 with bloody surveillance cameras, seeing absolutely every single calorie they eat or how much movement they're expending. No, we're not. You might go out with a skinny person, they might eat a lot in that meal, but that might be the only meal they've eaten that day. So they might be hitting their maintenance or still in a bit of a calorie deficit. So to say, oh, this whole notion of, oh, skinny people can eat whatever they want is just completely ridiculous. If you're in a calorie surplus, you'll gain weight. Calorie deficit, you lose weight. It's just that's the only two ways of looking at it, and saying skinny people can eat whatever they want is just complete rubbish. And yes, no doubt genetics do play a massive part into how much weight you're going to be, but there's definitely ways of fighting back against that and being able to lose weight. Because I fell for this notion myself, thinking that just because I was overweight, my genetics were all against me, there was nothing I could do about it, but there's definitely hope. So what this actually comes down to, and what really means by genetics, is that all human beings have three things called fat cells, ghrelin and leptin, and these three things are a massive deciding factor to how much weight we will be. So you can think of these three things being ghrelin, leptin and fat cells as being the messes as the name are the human body, and they're responsible for ghrelin sends signals to the brain making you want to eat, leptin tells the brain how full you are after you have eaten, and fat cells release leptin into the body, and if you're overweight these things will be heightened, so the ghrelin and the leptin, and we will have more fat cells to fill up. And the problem overweight people run into with this is that just because they're eating high calorie dense foods, they're not sending those signals to the brain telling you that you're full after you have eaten. When you eat high calorie dense foods that aren't very filling in return, you've all got these fat cells that you need to keep on filling up because they're releasing the leptin into the body, telling you to eat more, and you're not full yet. So what you need to do is eat low calorie dense foods, foods that are high in protein and high in fibre, because these foods are the most satiating macronutrients as they take longer to digest, therefore keeping you fuller for longer, compared to the high calorie dense food stuff that's not high in protein or fibre. You're just going to keep eating more and more and more of it, therefore going over your calorie maintenance, therefore on a calorie surplus, therefore putting on weight. So that's the way you've got to look at it, and those are the real genetic deciding factors. It's the ghrelin, the leptin and the fat cells. These will decide how hungry you are and how full you are after you've eaten, therefore dictating how much weight you're going to be. And yes, well, I do agree this is something that skinny people will not have to run into. They won't have the heightened ghrelin, the leptin, or they won't have as many fat cells as overweight people. But packaging it in this way of like trying to say to overweight people, you've got no hope, there's no chance, you might as well be overweight. Well, imagine I just continue to believe into that and I was still massively overweight. I mean, God knows how big I'd be now if I kept on believing that sort of stuff. You definitely can fight back against it. There are multiple ways to do it. You just got to find out what works for you. You definitely can lose weight and do it sustainably and effectively and keep that weight off. It's very important to ignore this sort of outside noise that's make you pander to your beliefs. You can definitely do it. So that concludes all the clips I wanted to go over in this video. I hope you enjoyed and took something away from it. If this video does okay, maybe I'll do a little bit more. So yeah, let me know if you enjoyed this.